RFK Jr. joins the Unity ticket and Harris is pulling ahead. Is this real life or is this another one of those psyops? We break it down with RFK Jr. supporter and free speech social media PicX founder Jeff Dornick, as well as the former chairman of the California Republican Party, Tom Del Bassaro. I'm Christy Lee, bringing you the counter narrative.
Side.
According to the many polls, Harris holds a lead against Trump. We'll talk more about that in a moment. The effect of RFK Jr. linking arms with the Trump campaign with support of Jeff Dornick and the strategy to win with Tom Del Bassaro. But first, if Harris is hopping, why does the relentless lawfare continue? Desperate Jack Smith is forging ahead with his elections subversion case, despite being an unconstitutionally appointed special counsel. Politico reports Trump is indicted again on 4 felony charges related to his effort to subvert the 2020 presidential election. Notice the leftist news outlet doesn't bother with the word alleged. They've already tried and convicted him. As far as Politico is concerned, the new indictment removes some specific allegations against Trump, but contains the same 4 criminal charges, including conspiracy to defraud the United States. It's a signal that Smith believes the high court's immunity decision doesn't pose a major impediment to convicting the former president, which is the goal, of course. Here's Trump's response on his Truth Social platform. He says, in an effort to resurrect a dead witch hunt in Washington, D.C., in an act of desperation and in order to save face, the illegally appointed special counsel deranged Jack Smith has brought a ridiculous new indictment against me, which has all the problems of the old indictment and should be dismissed immediately. His Florida document hoax case has been completely dismissed. This is merely an attempt to interfere with the election and distract the American people from the catastrophes Kamala Harris has inflicted on our nation, like the border invasion, migrant crime, rampant inflation, the threat of World War III, and more. All the lawfare is working as intended, according to the polls. Election interference. Even in my home state of Texas, yes, Harris shrinks Trump's lead in Texas already within striking distance of Cruz, poll finds, according to the Texas Tribune. It says the survey conducted earlier this month by the University of Houston's Hobby School of Public Affairs is among the first to measure where things stand in Texas since Biden dropped his re-election bid last month. In June, the same pollster found that Trump led Biden by nearly 9 percentage points. The latest survey also recorded a 2-point lead for U.S. Senator Ted Cruz over his Democratic challenger, U.S. Rep. Colin Allred, virtually unchanged from the June poll. And the Washington Examiner reports that 3 states have moved in Harris's favor, including North Carolina. The Cook Political Reports publisher, Amy Walter, wrote that the Tar Heel state is now a toss-up, as opposed to leaning Republican, not because Harris is cutting into Trump's vote, but because Democrats and Democrat-leaning independents are coming home. If there is any truth to these polls, it is because the legacy media is it because the legacy media is serving as prostitutes. Instead of holding her accountable, they're all too willing to ignore her flip-flops and paint Kamala as a moderate. Harris has supposedly had an about face when it comes to building a border wall. Revolver reports Harris will never build a border wall, and everyone knows it. Yet that doesn't stop our pathetic media from trying to paint Kamala as a moderate who's in touch with the American people. An Axios article about Harris's support of a border security bill received a community note on X saying Kamala did not secure any new funding for the border wall. It just didn't reappropriate unspent funds allocated for said wall under Trump. Revolver notes, remember Tim Walz once said he wanted to hand out ladders to illegals so they could climb over Trump's border wall? Kamala once called the wall a medieval vanity project. And she's also on record with wanting to just abolish ICE. But, she's a moderate. She wants border security. But wait, the Harris campaign is full of joy. She's pulling ahead. If that's true, why are there still so many Democrat tactics to control or manipulate the election process? After spending millions to keep RFK Jr. off the ballots, now the Dems, they want to keep him on. Just reminds me of like a bratty little third grader just wanting the opposite of whatever is being told to them, whatever the opponent goal is. Oh, now you went on. Well, then no. Or now you went off. No, now you have to stay on. It's like a third grader throwing a tantrum. Wisconsin now forcing RFK Jr. to stay on ballot despite endorsing Trump. Same in Michigan. As the Muse posted, Michigan Democrats love RFK Jr. so much they won't remove his name from the ballot. On the other hand, they hate Cornel West so much they're suing to get him off of it. RVM reports Kamala's campaign basically bribed Dr. Cornel West to withdraw. Watch this.
Did they just one more on this? Did they offer you? Did they offer you a cabinet position, a lower position, and offer to pay off any of your campaign debt?
Well, they offered serious substantive conversation about all of those that could lead toward some real
Gotcha.
So that's interesting. Meanwhile, Arizona voters got a tour at Fortified Election Center, according to Barron's. Election official Stephen Ritter greeted a dozen Republican women as they filed past wrought iron fences and barbed wire to tour a sun-drenched building in Maricopa County, Arizona. Not a prison, but an election site. Why are we even still dealing with fake Republican Ritter? Wasn't he voted out? The article says much of Maricopa County's preparation for November has been focused on increasing physical security for the election workers in process, rather than securing the sanctity of the vote itself. What are they worried about? Why do they need to protect the counters or the machines? Any effort to secure the fairness of the voting process is met with Democrat resistance. Democracy Docket reports that the DNC is now suing the Georgia Election Board, it says, for delaying certification of the results. But what this really comes down to is that the board simply wants a reasonable inquiry rule in place. It states that a county board can only certify an election after reasonable inquiry, that the tabulation and canvassing of the election are complete and accurate, and that the results are true and accurate. Counting of all votes cast in that election comes down to making comparisons and cross checks. Isn't this actually what we already expect them to do? What purpose is there for them if they're just there to rubber stamp? I mean, that's basically what the lawsuit is saying, that they're only there to just, no matter what goes down, you just have to ram it through. And since when do Dems care about delays in election results? Weren't we told to expect delays? An election can take a week or maybe months. Either way, expect total chaos, no matter what the results are. The Scottish judge, who doesn't know what a woman is, Ketanji Brown Jackson, says the Supreme Court has to be prepared to respond to the election. That's according to Yahoo News. She said, I think are legal issues that arise out of the political process. She said that during an interview with CBS's Norah O'Donnell. But as a reader commented, SCOTUS punted with a no standing to the states regarding the election in 2020. So why would they do anything different this time? If U.S. states have no standing at the Supreme Court, they have no one to hear the case. Up next, we're talking to Jeff Dornick, an ardent RFK Jr. supporter. He's joining me to discuss all these latest developments, particularly the growing Unity ticket. But first, let's hear from the sponsors that make this show possible.
Looking to give your wardrobe an upgrade? Well, look no further. Here at God Country & Kin, we've got you covered from head to toe, from shoulder to shoulder, and everything in between. Introducing our brand new Patriotic Collection, designed to display your patriotic spirit with a stylish look that's sure to turn heads. And the best part is, you don't have to break the bank to be your best you. Why wait? Visit us online or in-store today and elevate your style with God Country & Kin. God Country & Kin, where patriotism meets style. Shop now. Visit the Patriot TV store and look for the God Country Kin banner to find the perfect outfit, shirt, accessory, or maybe a great hat. You can totally see yourself rocking this hat. I know you can. And check out all the great stuff we've got to show your patriotism at patriot.tv.store. Click that link above that says store and join me there at the Patriot TV store.
Throughout history, the spirit of patriotism has prevailed. The battles may have changed, but the values remain the same. Today, in 2024, we find ourselves at a pivotal moment where the call for unity, freedom, and a better future echoes louder than ever. For more than 10 years, Patriot Mobile has been committed to supporting the values that make our nation great. With affordable plans and reliable nationwide coverage, Patriot Mobile is not just a wireless service. It's a call to action for those who believe in the American dream. Because this year is not just any year, it's the most important year since our nation's founding. Choose a wireless carrier that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
So what does MAGA really mean? I mean, now we're hopping on the MAHA train, Make America Healthy Again, which I'm all about. But what does MAGA really mean? RFK Jr. had this to say about it. He said, "Make America Great Again recalls a nation brimming with vitality, with a can-do spirit, with hope and belief in itself. It was an America that was beginning to confront its darker shadows, could acknowledge the injustice in its past and present, yet at the same time could celebrate its successes. It was a nation of broad prosperity, the world's most vibrant middle class, and an idealistic belief that though not consistently applied in freedom, justice, and democracy, it was a nation that led the world in innovation, productivity, and technology, and it was the healthiest country in the world." I have talked to many Trump supporters. I have talked with the inner circle. I've talked to the man himself. This is the America they want to restore. Here to discuss is Jeff Dornick, CEO of Pickaxe, host of The Jeff Dornick Show, and RFK Jr. supporter. Jeff, I've been really anxious to talk to you. I haven't talked to you since RFK Jr. suspended his campaign and hooked up with Trump. What was your initial reaction to that? Were you surprised?
I wasn't necessarily surprised. I was actually at his announcement out there in Phoenix, and it was, to me, it was somewhat disappointing because obviously so many of us have put so much time and energy and effort into getting him on all the ballots and making sure that he qualified and waking people up to all the issues that he's talking about on his campaign. At the same time, when the Democrats are using lawfare, just like they're using against Trump, but then they're using it against Kennedy to try to keep him off all of the ballots. He was literally just hopping from state to state to appear in all these different court cases where they're trying to use frivolous lawsuits to get him kicked off the ballots. And you're sitting there and you're like, okay, so how do you actually campaign if you literally have to be traveling constantly and appearing in court cases and testifying, and you can't actually get your message out there? So to me, it made sense from a pragmatic standpoint. Join forces with Donald Trump. There's definitely some issues of disagreement between the Kennedy camp and the Trump camp. But the important thing, I think, is that he's going to be able to have a say and actually a seat at the table to fix a lot of these root core problems, especially within the HHS, dealing with health, chronic disease, chemicals, toxins, the whole deal. And so I think that it's definitely a net positive. And the more important thing is we've got to make sure that Kamala Harris does not get in the White House.
Absolutely. And I will agree with you. I felt sadness at the announcement because, I was, I'll just admit it, I was undecided still on like what direction I wanted to take. But I was refreshed this whole time that there was a choice, that there was another choice. We all have, I think, can agree that we've been frustrated with Republicans and Democrats, that, we've been battling this uniparty, and I think RFK Jr. was a real promise of a challenge to that. And so I'm hoping that challenge will remain, because I do think it's important to get away from this two-party rule, that it makes too many problems persist, too many backdoor deals, and it's just a lack of trust overall. Do you feel confident that even with this latest development, that there'll still be efforts to push for true challenges to the two-party rule?
I think so. And I know that the Kennedy team is still making a push on that. So their goal right now is in states that are not swing states. They're still doing everything that they can to stay on those ballots. Because if they can reach the 5% threshold, then they can become an official party nationwide, and they can actually get federal funding in order to establish the party. So they're trying to establish the We the People Party to be a challenge to the two-party uniparty system. I'm out here in communist California. I'm still going to vote for Kennedy out here because I'm not in a swing state. It's not going to make a difference in the sense of Kamala Harris is going to win the state of California. But if we can get to that 5% threshold nationwide and, use places like California and New York and Hawaii and Washington and Oregon, then we can actually establish a We the People party, which is basically based upon, RFK's principles of, let's focus on the issues that unify us. Let's not participate in these backroom deals and, be a part of this kind of establishment. Let's challenge the status quo. Let's focus on these important issues. Let's get down to the root issues, the base issues that we've got to fix. And that's what the We the People party is going to be all about.
And that's, I think, something that people can agree in. As you noticed, I was kind of sheepish in admitting that I was still undecided because it's like some Trump supporters are so zealous, they get really mad when you admit that you were considering someone else. But I think that the bottom line is why do you love Trump? Why do you love him so much? Because he was the first to challenge the establishment. And so that's something we can agree on. And I want to see continued challenge to the establishment. And that's why RFK Jr. Kind of entering the mix in the ways that he did was further challenging the establishment. And so I think that's something that we can all agree on, is that we would love to see that challenge. Since you mentioned it, what you're going to do in California, is it your understanding that RFK Jr. is still on the ballot in Texas? And Texas, we don't tend to think of as a swing state, but I don't know if you caught part of my news segment before. They're promoting that Texas is running very close when it comes to these races. So what would be your suggestions for us Texans to do?
Yeah, so I don't know which state specifically Kennedy got off of. I know that he withdrew in 10 states. There's a couple that's trying to keep him on the ballot because they know that he's trying not to. So again, the Democrats are absolutely ridiculous. In a place like Texas, which has been becoming more purple and more contested elections, I would definitely recommend to vote for Donald Trump. Absolutely 100%. If you're in one of those states where it's getting close, do not try to vote for Kennedy. And I can tell you, RFK Jr. would not want you to vote for him if you're in one of those states. If you're in a place like where I am out here in communist California, I'm actually encouraging Trump supporters, make the switch over to RFK and support RFK in these blatantly blue and red states, primarily so that way we can get to that 5% threshold, especially if you're sick of the uniparty craziness and the establishment. But do not try to vote for Kennedy out of a protest vote in a state where it could swing either way. We do not want to see Kamala Harris get in there. So this is a tactic and a strategy in order to establish a legitimate third party moving forward as we're heading into 2028. But we don't want to lose this election in the process.
Let's talk a little bit more about this lawfare. I mean, it absolutely is disgusting. It honestly, legit makes my stomach turn when I just think of the viciousness of and the relentlessness of this lawfare from people who claim to be promoting ballot access and speaking for the voter and trying to save democracy, and everything that they do flies in the face of that. It's just absolutely disgusting. What's also hard to understand is that they have been permitted to do this lawfare, these frivolous lawsuits, while people that had legitimate questions about the 2020 election were punished just for bringing lawsuits. There were attorneys that were sanctioned. There's ongoing lawsuits right now just for questioning an election. Yet pre-election, you can use lawsuits and lawfare to sway an election. I mean, what sense does that make, particularly on this case of these third graders, is how I see them, who fought to take him off, and now they're like, oh, you went off? Oh, well, now I'm going to keep you on. I mean, it's so stupid. What is your thoughts?
No, it absolutely is stupid. I don't know how to fix the problem. I think we all see there is a problem right here, especially where we're seeing, obviously, our government is being weaponized. We've got our government, using lawfare against Donald Trump. We're seeing Democrats using lawfare against RFK Jr. I think Nicole Shanahan was saying the other day that there were, I think Trump has been in 7, probably 8 lawsuits by now. As a recipient on the receiving end of lawfare. Kennedy's been in 9 or 10 lawsuits now for the same tactic. It's just the government's doing it against Trump. It's the Democrat Party themselves that are doing it against RFK. The problem is that when you're dealing with the government, I get it. Okay, we can figure out a way in order to, you know, regulate, not allow this to happen again. You know, especially when you're dealing with Jack Smith and all the craziness of him not even being qualified to actually, you know, pursue these lawsuits and all of that. What I'm concerned about is how do we actually deal with these frivolous lawsuits by these PACs, by the Democrat Party against RFK Jr., and make sure that this does not happen again in future elections, yet at the same time not take away our voice if there's legitimate concerns you know, about the Democrats, or, you know, cheating or election fraud or anything like that heading into elections. So it's a weird thing. I don't know the solution. There's definitely a problem, but I think we're going to have to figure out what the solution is moving forward, so that way this doesn't happen every single election cycle when somebody's trying to challenge the status quo.
Yeah, it's maddening. On a brighter note, it has been exciting to see what unity can look like, because there is only one side that's truly compromising, truly willing to debate, truly willing to have conversations, and that is the side of independents and Republicans and some reasonable Democrats. I really liked RFK Jr.'s announcement of Tulsi being added to, he called it the Justice League as Wonder Woman. that just made me chuckle. It was so great to see her added. A lot of respect for her. Do you have any other predictions of who else might join this interesting bedfellows that is starting to form?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a hard one to predict these kinds of scenarios. You know, it's funny. I was telling a friend the other day. I think it was actually when I was at the Kennedy announcement. I was like, you know, I'm sitting there thinking and kind of brainstorming, like, okay, who would be great to add to the Trump administration? And it doesn't have to be like a Democrat, but I'd like it to be somebody that's like an outsider, not a part of the establishment or anything like that. And at first I was like, it would be great to have Tucker Carlson as press secretary, just for him to light into them, because, you know, he's brilliant. He knows their game and all of that. And then I'm like, just for pure entertainment purposes, I am officially calling for Alex Jones to be press secretary. I think that would be brilliant. He would put everybody in their place, and everybody would tune in every single day to hear the messaging coming out of the Trump crowd. So that would be my thing. But when it comes to, you know, people unifying, I just hope that more people across party lines, inside of politics, outside of politics, come together around this unity party. This is kind of a nod back to Abraham Lincoln, who kind of brought together all these different rivals within his administration. So that way he was getting everybody's perspective. They could discuss, they could debate, and they could come together and find some sort of common ground to figure out, okay, how do we move forward in this crazy contentious country? And I think that we're seeing the same thing with Donald Trump right now, where he's bringing together all these different people, differing perspectives, and he's going to basically put them all in a room and let's figure this thing out. Let's not be an echo chamber. That was one of my biggest criticisms of Trump as of late, was he was creating an echo chamber. So the fact that he's putting together people like Tulsi and Elon and RFK and all these people together basically in one room to say, let's duke this out, let's figure this out, and let's come to some sort of consensus. To me, that's a very positive sign, and I think that's one huge step in order to unify this country.
Absolutely. And then just to wrap up with you, you have exciting announcements on your platform. We talk about your platform anytime I have you on, Pickaxe, and the amazing things that you want to do with it. There's still a lot of issues with X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. And you're hoping to address those issues. Tell me the latest when it comes to Pickaxe.
Yeah, so we actually just launched our beta launch a couple weeks ago. So we've been debugging things, working through everything. Right now, one of the things that we're doing right now is we're actually onboarding a lot of content creators onto the platform. Whether you're a content creator or not, definitely join the platform. Get on there, start following some of your favorite people. We're bringing on a wide variety of people from different political spectrums, different industries, different genres. We're getting some people from the food industry, some people from the health industry, some people from the entertainment, the whole deal. So make sure that you guys are hopping on there, but it's going to be it's a completely constitutionally protected free speech platform. But we've got algorithms that are positive, not negative. We're not shadow banning, we're not shutting down your voice, anything like that. But then it's kind of a hybrid between X and Substack without all the crazy algorithms. So you can write articles, you can post shows, you can do the whole thing all on the platform, and we're going to make it as user-friendly as possible. And we've got a whole bunch of really cool features we're going to be rolling out over the next couple of months. But yeah, right now we're in beta launch. So join, sign up right now, and then start following some of your favorite creators that are already joining the platform.
Yeah, keep an eye out for me. I definitely am going to do this. As you know, trying to juggle all of this is a lot of time, but I intend to get down there maybe even later today. So keep an eye out for that. Just one final question. With the latest assault on free speech, particularly when it comes to social media platforms, and the arrest of the founder and CEO of Telegram, does that give you concerns or any pause?
I mean, it's always concerning when you see these kinds of attacks and these weaponizations of government when it comes to attacking free speech and demanding, content moderation. That's one of the things that I had to jump through a lot of different hoops about, and that's one of the reasons why we're a web-based app as opposed to being in the App Store, is because I want to make sure that we are a free speech platform. And right now, any platform that's in the App Store right now, Truth Social, Cloud Hub, X, whatever it is, you have to have content moderation, standards, and a lot of it in specifically is dealing with quote unquote misinformation, disinformation, basically things that challenge the status quo, go against the mainstream narrative of the government. And so when you see things like what happened with the CEO of Telegram, him getting arrested for not having quote unquote content moderation, things in place, it's definitely concerning where you're sitting there and you're like, okay, so we're going to be a free speech platform. Obviously, I don't want to get arrested, so I'm probably not going to go to that country that arrested him. But we right now we are based specifically and solely in the United States of America. If you live outside of the country, you can join, but it's designed for people that are in the United States. And so we are living and breathing the United States Constitution. We are going to hold ourselves to the laws of the United States of America, and we're going to protect free speech rights, no matter what, no matter who we have to take on, whether big tech, government, whatever it is. That's what we're going to do. We're going to protect your free speech rights.
Amazing. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jeff. I encourage people to follow Jeff Dornick on X, and then obviously hop on over to PicX, set up your account, follow him there, and also you can get using information about his show. So thank you so much, Jeff.
Of course. Thank you. It's always a blast talking to you.
Yeah, you too. All right. Well, Jeff Dornick is still living there in communist California, believe it or not. And my next guest is actually the former chairman of the California Republican Party. I fled California, and hopefully by the end of the show, we can try and make sense of why Harris is supposedly killing it in the polls when she comes from a state that people have fled, that she has had a role in destroying. Hopefully we can make sense of that. But that's after this break, and I'll see you on the other side.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is General Mike Flynn, and I'm inviting you to join me on September 4th at 4 p.m. Eastern. That's September 4th, 4 p.m. Eastern. Mark that on your calendars. We'll be live on Patriot TV. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking only to our Patriot TV defenders for an exclusive discussion, a Q&A, if you will. Your presence is crucial as we dive into the matters that shape our great nation. And again, this is only for the Patriot TV. So if you go to patriot.tv, you can register today. There's a banner at the top of the website. You can sign up for September 4th, 4 p.m. Eastern. Together, let's stand strong for America's future. God bless you, and God bless America.
Access to these events will be members only. So go to patriot.tv, click on Become a Member. It's fast and easy. Become a member today. Just go to patriot.tv, click on Become a Member, join today.
I don't know about you, but I have to have that cup of coffee in the morning. And Kingdom Cup is mold-free, it is pesticide-free, and it is organic. It's got this flavor that is delicious. You don't even have to put cream or sweetener in it.
Why did we go with the bean form, the whole bean? Because ultimately the powder form is the one that gathers the most moisture. And that means the more potential mold development. This is actually organic, mold-free, certified. That's important because ultimately people drink coffee. It's cultural. And so we tried to meet the culture where it is and create a healthy alternative.
Make the healthy choice for you and your family. Try mold-free, pesticide-free, and it's organic. Delicious Kingdom Cup coffee. And it's available now at the Patriot TV store. Go to patriot.tv and click on store. You'll find Kingdom Cup coffee in the health and wellness section. Order Kingdom Cup coffee at the Patriot TV store now.
And welcome back, Kamala. Well, you know, she served as district attorney and later AG of California, and she's clearly just killing it in these polls all of a sudden because of her time there in the Golden State, right? I mean, California's thriving, right? That's why so many, including me, fled the state, even though it's the most beautiful state. Yeah, it was very bittersweet to make that choice, but yeah, I had to do it. They're destroying it. The Democrats are destroying it. But so make it make sense. And hopefully our next guest can do that. Here to discuss is the former chairman of the California Republican Party, Tom Del Belcaro. He is also an acclaimed author, speaker, and publisher of politicalvanguard.com, among other things. Thank you so much for being here.
Great to be on. Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm trying to make sense of this. You know, here we have Kamala Harris, who spent her time, grew up in California and successfully did her part to destroy the once beautiful, most amazing state. And so how does someone have this much success, supposedly, running for president when she has the track record from her time in California?
That's a really good question. And there's probably three major categories of why this is possible. First and foremost, a decade ago, I wrote a book called The Divided Era, which explains why we're so divided and the extent of it. And we are so divided that half the country, or really 40% of the country, is willing to vote for a Democrat no matter what. And so that loyalty on the Democrat side explains part of it. That division also includes the media. And we are closer to the party press era, which was in the 1800s when the press, then newspapers, were actually owned by politicians. We are getting very close to that era again. The CNN may not be owned by a Democrat politician, but they have become the PR firm, CNN, MSNBC, and others. So that explains that as well. And then paradoxically, with respect to her, even though she had horrible ratings in the 30s, in fact, and that was basically because people didn't like her personality as it came across. But today, they actually don't know where she stands on many issues. The majority of Americans have no idea what her positions are or how far left they are. So when you add up all of those three things, she's off to a good start. We'll have to see whether in the next 75 days there's enough debates to undercut that. And the reason why I say debates is because it's very clear that she's going to hide most of the time. And the only unscripted, truly unscripted format she will get could well be the debates.
And even that may be scripted, let's face it, because of all her buddies there over at ABC. But I just while we're on the topic of California, you know, I'm a Midwest girl, was born and raised in Ohio, and then I took an anchor job in California. That's what brought me to California originally. And I was surprised going to California because many people warned me, like, oh gosh, you're going to California, good luck. You know, people do not think rationally there. But I was in the Central Valley. A lot of people were, you know, loved God and country still in that area. And but I was alarmed by the voting process. You know, I voted there in 2020. We walked into, I believe it was a library, and they just took me through the process, and I'm like, I don't have to show anything. Like, nope, just say who you are and vote. And I was like, okay, there's no security on that end. And then, but you can follow your vote. You can sign in on a website and find out, you know, track your vote, right? So I did that, and all I got was yes. I had voted. So I'm like, well, this doesn't really do me a whole lot of good because, okay, it says, yes, I voted, but I don't know if there was some funny business. I don't know who they recorded for who I voted for. So, I mean, the whole thing is kind of crazy because I have even been down to other parts of California, and everywhere you go, like, everyone hates Nancy Pelosi. Everyone hates Gavin Newsom. I mean, just look at the recall effort, you know? So how is California just completely corrupted when it comes to voting? Or do you believe that there is some legitimacy to it being so blue?
Well, there is some legitimacy to that, and that comes from starting in the late 90s. There was a huge outflow of people looking for middle-class jobs and low tax states. And that's been going on now for 25 plus years. When I was chairman of the California Republican Party, I used to recite the statistics chapter and verse about how many left for Nevada, Washington, which has no income tax, as you probably know, Arizona, Tennessee, the great Art Laffer, who endorsed my last book, The Lessons of the American Civilization. He went to Tennessee, no tax, and Florida. So that is real. The unsecured nature of the California voting system is also incredibly real. We saw this week that Texas removed 1.1 million people from the voting rolls after an audit. Well, there was a lawsuit in the last decade that required LA to remove that many people. To remove that many people. And that was never clearly done. One of the administrative assistants in my office continues to receive 4 ballots each time to her home. My neighbor receives 4 ballots at her home, even though both of them should only get 1. So there are many hundreds of thousands of people in California who get multiple ballots and/or ballots sent out, which should be scrubbed from the rolls. And that's one invite to voter fraud.
Yeah, so there's one avenue, and yeah, I do remember actually that as well, getting a ballot sent to my home, never requested one, but then I went in person. But just there being a record of there being a ballot sent to my home, who knows what happened to that? Who knows? It's all wild. But so let's talk. You mentioned your book. You mentioned your newest book. Tell me about that and what you're hoping people to get out of that.
Well, my career has been built on trying to put things in perspective, both political and historical. And so I, believe it or not, have been studying history. It's actually my birthday today. I've been studying history for 50 some years. And this book is the culmination of that. It is a follow-on book to Will Durant's Lessons of History. This is the lessons of the American civilization, which civilizations come together, rise and fall with some predictability. And what I do is give those sort of predictable rules and then tell the American story from the 1500s and all the way to today. It's particularly relevant today because what we're seeing, we've reached the age of the American civilization where the government is literally protecting itself from the citizens. And this has happened countless times in history. I give examples dating back to King Herod, who had his wife and her father and her uncle and even his kids by her killed because he became jealous that they might steal his power. Venice, the great republic of the 1300s, created the first Western spy network in response to a threat to its hold on power, the current regime's hold on power. Marie Antoinette's lesser-known sister did the same for Napoli in Italy. So the point is that sooner or later, government becomes so big and centralized, and that's what our founders were trying to avoid, and I go through that in the book, so big and centralized that those in power love it, want to keep it, and then they try and exclude or restrict the access of people to the system. We see that going on in America today. My book describes it in detail, but that's only one of many lessons in the book.
And I mean that those are such important lessons because obviously, understanding our history helps us understand everything so much better about what's going on, what we're in danger of. And, as you were talking, I'm reminded of a few things that I remember reading and hearing about just, obviously the dollar hasn't been the world currency forever. And it's quickly losing that place right now. but if you go over the history of, the major currencies, they all kind of failed at the same like 100-ish years, and then even you study Rome or like the great civilizations, there was like a time and then they collapsed, so to that end, I mean, I hate to sound super dystopian and pessimistic, but just based on what we know about history and how long America has survived, is it just due for a collapse? Like, sorry, I feel bad even asking that question.
Yeah, no, it's okay. The great historian Toynbee used to say that, or write, that there isn't this timeline because it's a question of will. There's no reason it has to end. It's collective wills. And there have been great leaders in history that have done amazing things for civilizations to extend them. Stalin in ancient Greece. George Washington made an enormous individual difference when he handed back his victorious Revolutionary War power and gave it back to Congress. So great leaders have made enormous differences. Charlemagne made enormous differences in civilizations and the history of civilizations. So America, as I say in the book, history is no more a straight line than the emotions of our day. If you think about it, you wake up in the morning, sometimes you wake up really happy, and at 10:30 something knocks you to the side, but by 4 o'clock you've revived. That happens in civilizations. Nevertheless, we show signs that are of great risk. The fact that our national, you brought up currency, that our national debt now, the interest on it exceeds the defense budget, is a clear sign that both we are inflating our currency out of currency, meaning the world may not want to use it because it's so unpredictable. The reason why the great civilization in history's currency was used is because of its predictability. If we destroy that predictability with increasing national debt like we are now, then the currency will go down, and that'll affect America's standard of living. We also have this. Look, at the beginning of a civilization, it succeeds through productivity. Often it is brought down in a period of redistribution. That's what happened in the Roman Republic. And of course, as you well know, we're seeing signs of that today.
Interesting. And then based on, history and your experience, I spoke a lot with my last guest about the developments that have come when it comes to obviously RFK Jr., former Democrat, then independent, and now endorsing Trump. I mean, these are some wild happenings that are going on. But I think what made him attractive is being anti-establishment. And RFK Jr. really kind of carved out his position as anti-establishment. So that's something that we can agree on. Having been the former chair of the Republican Party there in California, what is the state of the Republican Party? Has it been successfully redefined by this recommitment to liberty and conservative values? I mean, because at the same time, Trump still faces a lot of criticism for walking back his conservative stance and being kind of more leftist on some other issues when it comes to reproductive rights and things like that. So can the Republican Party even be defined anymore? Are there enough Republicans that are going to now vote for Kamala because it's changed too much? What insight can you share?
Going back to our earlier discussion about government protecting itself from the citizens, that's really the what has become the establishment today. It's the government's a huge, big business to them. I mean, think about it. What is it? 6 of the 9 or 9 of the 20 richest counties in America surround Washington, D.C. They make a lot of money off of us. They want our money, but not our 2 cents. So predictably in history, there's become a faction which is more concerned about their own. Keep in mind, Trump's movement came out of the Tea Party, which was based on people believing that government didn't listen to them and didn't have their interests at heart. That's also been true throughout all of history. And so there's a strong faction of the party today that is against the establishment because because they know the establishment really doesn't take their interests to heart. And Newt Gingrich said it well the other day that there's now 2 sections of America, one interested in true reform and one in the establishment way of doing things. The Democrats are becoming a socialist party, to be sure. The question for Republicans, though, is yes, it's easy enough to say that the system and establishment isn't working. But once they get into power, will they really make a true mark this time around to reduce government and its influence? 3 years ago, I wrote about how the DOJ and the FBI on Fox News want to decide who can be president of the United States. Now, just think about what we learned about the FBI lying to Facebook and Twitter, admitted yesterday earlier in this week by Zuckerberg, saying that that yes, essentially they lied to him, right? So that's where we are. If the Republicans want to stay relevant and not a minority party to the socialists, because as you can see, it's easy to vote your way into office for the left because they just give away items. If the Republicans want to be relevant, they have to actually reduce government power this next time around.
Well, I'm glad you have a plan, and clearly you were prophetic on on what the goal was and what we have been seeing happen. So you've written these great books, and I encourage people to go to your website and pick up a copy of your latest book as well as your others. What is keeping you busy right now?
Well, I just started a new podcast called Del Beccaro and Hook. You can get that on Rumble and YouTube. My book tour starts next week in earnest in California, and then I head its way back east. We should do an event in Ohio and get people to understand. Really, what I want people to understand is these normal, dangerous, but normal. They're taught in these schools that, oh, this is either a conspiracy theory or never happened before. No, it happens all the time, and that's why you have to be on guard. Our founders were on guard. We need to be on guard to preserve it.
Yeah, such a great handle on history. Look forward to reading more about your work, checking out your podcast. And just remind viewers about your website real quick.
TomDel, TomDel.com. Thanks so much for having me on.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you so much, Tom. All right. Wow. That was heavy. That was a lot to learn and understand. Again, you can pick up his book, Lessons in American Civilization by Thomas Beccaro. Check out his podcast. And, we're going to hit a quick break. When I get back from the break, as always, I have a verse to share with you, and we'll see what else we have time for. But till then, see you right after this break.
Don't let them win. Patriot TV is committed to delivering the truth. America's new network for patriots is growing fast, and we'd love you to join us as a member of Patriot TV. Your support makes it possible for us to continue to deliver unbiased reporting, thought-provoking discussions, and insights you won't find anywhere else. From in-depth interviews to behind-the-scenes footage, Patriot TV brings you closer to the voices shaping our nation's future. Whether it's political developments, cultural shifts, or global affairs, Patriot TV keeps you informed and empowered. As a member of Patriot TV, you'll get perks like personal invitations to exclusive Patriot TV events, where you can gather and network with like-minded Americans. We'll also host online events throughout the year with General Flynn, who's committed to host live Q&A webinars where callers like you can ask him questions and get real answers. Access to these events will be members only, so go to patriot.tv, click on Become a Member. It's fast and easy. We have a great membership option starting at just $9.99 a month, or save with our annual membership for only $99, or take advantage of the best value, the 2-year membership for just $159. Go to patriot.tv, click on Become a Member. It's fast and easy. Do your part to make sure the truth gets out to all patriots and help ensure future programming. Become a member today. Just go to patriot.tv, click on Become a Member, join today.
Sounds rolling, all 3 cameras, we're good. Speed.
Is there any regrets that you have in life? I should sit here and say, yeah, I got a lot of regrets. But when I look back on my life and I understand the lives that were lost, I mean, I'm sitting here with you. And I can tell my story.
Former National Security Advisor, Lieutenant General Michael Flynn, pleaded guilty today to lying to the FBI.
He was one of the most respected generals in the military.
He was, by definition, the most dangerous possible person for Donald Trump to hire.
Really brilliant military career, serving 33 years.
Why was he being so elusive?
Mike Flynn told the truth and faced life in prison.
Every American needs this historical DVD keepsake. Flynn delivered the truth, whatever the cost. Hand signed by General Michael Flynn, one of America's most treasured military heroes. Order now at the Patriot TV store. Go to Patriot TV, click on Store. and grab a once-in-a-lifetime chance to own a treasured piece of American history and get your own personal download link to watch America's most talked about movie, as well as a DVD hand-signed by General Michael Flynn. Use promo...
Looks like you've been sleeping well.
Megan, he's back! The My Pillow guy!
And you're looking good.
Still feeling good.
Well, just when you thought it couldn't get any better, we've got the best pillow ever, My Pillow 2.0. When I invented My Pillow, it had everything you'd ever want in a pillow. Well, now there's new technology that makes it even better. My Pillow 2.0 has my patented fill combined with a cooling fabric with temperature regulating thread. My Pillow 2.0 is truly the next generation of My Pillow.
Now's the time to go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use the promo code to save 50% on your MyPillow 2.0. Not only that, for a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free.
You're sleeping even better.
And cooler, too.
And you're looking good.
Feeling good.
I knew you would.
MyPillow.com. Yes, get your My Pillow. Love all their products, particularly. Did you know they have PJs? Did you know that they have slippers or even sandals? You know, check it out. So much to find on there. mypillow.com/PTV. And also, we've been really encouraging you to support our work here by becoming a Patriot Defender. You can do that at patriot.tv/counter narrative. That's patriot.tv/counter narrative. And I encourage you to sign up there on that landing page because that's where you'll see my recent shows. If you sign up, you can have access to all of the shows as well as other extras. Becoming a Patriot Defender will give you member-only discounts. And also, as you heard from General Flynn earlier, there is an exciting members only event coming up on September 4th that you can be a part of. So sign up today, $9.99. Let me try that again. $9.99 a month or $99 a year. You can save the most with a 2-year subscription and even get an extra gift. So really no reason to not support this network. Support free speech, support news analysis, and these exclusive interviews. That's patriot.tv/counter narrative. For the scripture of the day, I would like to share this with you. This is from 1 Corinthians 1:27-29. But God chose the foolish things of the world to shame the wise. God chose the weak things of the world to shame the strong. God chose the lowly things of this world and the despised things and the things that are not to nullify the things that are, so that no one may boast before him. So why does God allow bad things to happen, or things that seem bad, or things that seems like a struggle? So that he can be glorified, so that we remember to boast in him. So we remember that it's not just our efforts, although we should put forth effort, but it is ultimately faith in him, repentance, and asking him to heal our land that's going to get us out of this mess. If you want to dig into the Bible with me and join my small community of folks joining together every Monday through Friday at 7:30 Eastern time, then please check out Locals. Search for my page there on Locals, or you can go to ChristyLeeTV.com. ChristyLeeTV.locals.com to go straight to the page. Now, I want to end with encouraging words from an actor. What? We're told Hollywood is evil and corrupt. And, but you know, not all of them. You know, when you do speak up, you are usually blacklisted. But we do want to honor those that have been in Hollywood and have spoken out, like Robert Davi. Or Rob Schneider, or Roseanne Barr. You know, these are true patriots, true, brave, courageous people, John Voight being one of them. And he has an important message to share and is reminding us that this is the war of our lifetime now. Watch this.
Now I'm on the right side.
My friends, this is the war of our lifetime now. We the people are in trouble if this nation picks Kamala Harris. We must stop this crime that is happening. It's a war crime that Obama is directing, and Kamala Harris will be the cackling hyena that just listens and repeats. If we do not stop this horror, you, my friends, will have the biggest horror that you will not know how to end. We must all see this truth, become one with this understanding that God will guide us with words of wisdom, that we may understand that Donald Trump will make any sacrifice to save America. We the people are in danger, and we must vote for President Trump because he will save this nation. And the left are all afraid of his strength because he is only for the people. He's not for the power, for the greed, the lies, or wanting to destroy one's hard-earned earnings. We must stop this madness now. Our children are in danger. The left is trying to take away your children and turn them into non-binaries. You all on the left, the ones who are my peers that preach, you all know who you are. What have you all learned in this life? Have you learned the lessons that will bring you to the higher place of eternity? This is now all your lessons. For each one who votes against Trump, this will be among the worst crimes that you will see in your lives. And you know why? This nation has criminals killing your child, father, brother, friend, you, because of the left mentality allowing this border to be open. The ones who are on the left who fight against Trump will pay a price for the injustice of lies that are Kamala Harris and Obama. And all of you who think this is the greatest economy, you will find that your life will sink into a hole of darkness, and the freedom we all once had will be burned in the dark plague of the darkest time in history, like the destruction of the Civil War. My fellow Americans, we've come too far, and this life we were given was the blessing of God, and this is our hope, to remember that he shall chant the words of Psalm 25 and in the Torah, Isaiah 55. We shall overcome. May God watch over us and bring this nation back together so her beauty will shine with her glory, the red, white, and blue. God bless America, and he will protect our nation against this evil left, and Donald Trump will make America great again. Much love to you. Much love.